Hey, so, a handful of my good buddies have all told me that getting a Sprinter van was like the best purchase they ever made. They have so much fun, zero regrets. For me, I can't wait to go fly fishing, mountain biking, hiking, and, do that with my kids, take a lot of trips. Like I said, my first trip here is next week with my son, Gabe. We're going to go up to Bozeman, Montana. We're going to mountain bike. We're going to do a college campus tour. We're going to go fly fishing and camp out. It's going to be great. I'm just looking forward to being outdoors more.
Brandon here with Reparadise. Today I have Bob Griffith here.
Yep.
And we just finished up his van. And so today is the turnover day. And we want to walk through, check out some of the features, and kind of show him what he's getting into with this thing. So starting on the outside, you can see that this thing's lifted a little bit over factory. So we do have the Van Compass 4.3 adjustable suspension on here. So you can set this thing up for a stiff ride for when you're cruising around on the highway, on city streets. You get onto some of these roads and all you have to do is click over that red cap on there and you get a little bit more of a plush ride. So it's a really nice feature to have. You got the bigger wheel and tire package, and that will give you a more stable cruise, like around these gnarly roads that you're gonna be on, because you're gonna be going out fishing and getting on some of these dirt roads. So definitely a good feature to upgrade. And then we're standing in the sun. If we were gonna be out here for a while, we'd open up this Fiamma. It's the 13-footer, so it runs the full length of your van. So you get tons of shade off this thing. Manual version, easy to deploy, super quick to set up. A definite awesome upgrade so that you have level of comfort. Up on that roof, we have a 48-volt air conditioner. We have a 48-volt air conditioner because you have a 48-volt power system in here. More efficient, faster to recharge, more power and a smaller footprint. So we're able to stack up in there the equivalent of 800 amp hours in a space that normally would double the size. So you get a lot more internal space with that for all your gear. Moving around to the front, you got a couple little sleeper fog lights on here in amber to cut through the haze, and you got your big light bar on our new and improved roof rack up there, and that's gonna really illuminate things when you get to camp at dark or you're going down one of these dirt roads at night. You're gonna use it more than you think, actually. Yeah. A lot of people think some of these features are just kind of like cool additions, but you start using this rig and you're gonna be using the hell out of those things. So those are great. And we also have got a few pod lights all the way around. They've all got their own individual switches. That's switched individually, and then all your exterior upper rack lights all have their own switch, so you can turn them on when you need. One right underneath the awning, one in the rear, so if you're backing up or anything like that, you can shine. All right, let's move around back, show you a couple of things that we got back here. Immediately, of course, you'll see that we've got the Owl spare tire and ladder combo. So we moved the spare tire from underneath in the factory location for a couple of reasons. One, it's an oversized tire, so it's a little bit harder to fit underneath there. Two, if you have any problems, it's nice to just be able to pull this guy off, be able to swap a tire super quick instead of digging up underneath there. And three, that gave us the room to mount another, I think it's 26 gallons of fresh water. So you combine that with another 24 in there, and you've got about 50 gallons of water that you're carrying. Realizing I've got my silly Elvis glasses on for this shoot, but they do the job. So, the first thing that you're looking at is we've got a slide out. So this guy, we're gonna have your bikes mounted to this, and any other gear. If you're not taking bikes, you can utilize this as a gear tray. So this thing pulls all the way out. Coolers, firewood, all sorts of stuff. It's just gonna be easy access. And then if you ever need to, this does actually remove pretty easy. That guy will give you good ability to load stuff out here instead of having to crawl under the bed and having to mount everything all hunched over. So slide it out, mount your bike, set a cooler in there or firewood or any extra gear, you slide it back in, you get out of there. So So speaking of, we do have a little access door for you right here. This guy pops off with magnets. You can throw your fishing poles in there.
Yeah.
This quick, you don't have to reach around in case there are bikes and stuff here blocking this door. You don't have to remove them, slide this out. You can just reach in and grab some stuff. On this other side, we have shower, magnetic holder on here. You're gonna set that up, turn it on, rinse off. Got a little shower curtain in here that you'll set up to have some privacy if you need it. But your water system's gonna be underneath this side. So we've got our system split. Water is on driver's side and electrical is on your passenger side. So right there you've got
Labels.
yeah, 2.5 gallons of hot water. We set that to really hot. The idea there is then you only have to mix a little bit of the hot water in with the cold, extending the life of your hot water tank. So really that 2.5 gallons can be tripled. You know, you can think that, you know, set at 110 degrees, mixing in a little bit of hot water with the cold, and then you can stretch that to be more like a 5 or 7 gallon tank. So the rest of these cabinets is yours to fill in with whatever you want across all the tops here. So that's the nice thing about adding an extra tank underneath and then having that 48 volt power system that we talked about. It really consolidates the amount of space that systems take up. If we built this power system right here as a 12 volt system, it would have taken up this whole bed cabinet. And if you wanted 50 gallons of water and the water heater and your accumulator and everything, you would have taken up most of this upper, and then you would have had systems covering the whole rear end and no storage.
Yeah.
So your power system is on the passenger side, and probably won't have to mess with that too much. It looks really complicated, and it is. Basically, hey, if you pop a fuse, just like you would in a house for 110, this is a fuse you would flip open. So that's the most that you're gonna be really concerned about. This is your battery bank, and you do have access through the top here, through this little magnetic storage to be able to see the BMS for it. Okay. Most of this is also Bluetooth, so you don't really have to get in here too much. And we have room to expand your battery bank. So if you decide that you want more power, then we can grow this area. And then this is just a passive air, and then that one's an active air vent. So when your inverter kicks on, it automatically kicks on the active air vent right there. And then above us is your nice, big, thick, custom-made mattress. And I think this thing's gonna be super comfortable. So we've got 7 inches of mattress here, and I think we split it with 4 inches of foam base, and then I think we've got 3 inches of memory foam on top.
That sounds right.
So, and this is the cooling mattress, and it's got a zipper on it so we can pull it off if you need to either replace it or clean it or anything like that. But this is all fixed, but if you do need to get in here, this is just a few screws on the centerpiece that goes across here, and you can actually remove everything pretty quickly in case your kid calls you up and is like, "Dad, I need to move a couch." I was like, "All right, give me a hand, let's move this out, we'll move your couch," and then this can be a cargo transporter. And then right above there, you see our nice little maple cubbies. Those guys are just catch-alls. Throw your sunglasses in there, throw your phone in there, which you can charge off these directional reading lights. They've got little USB ports underneath there. You can hook up a laptop, you can set it up, you can watch a movie, you can put your books in there. I mean, it's just a nice little, I'm getting ready to go to bed and I'm dropping stuff in there. That in here and over here, and so nice little spot.
I like it.
And you've got a fan right above your head, so you can use it as a passive or active air while you're sleeping. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a super comfortable sleeping space. So
Sure looks like it.
Yeah, this thing's awesome. Ready to move around the inside?
Yep.
All right, so this is the beauty. This is the entrance to the rig, and really cool choice that you made on the seat material.
I love that seat material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got That really set things off. So a lot of texture there, and it ends up being the focal point, along with having some color highlights on this floor. So really like the way the interior turned out. This is hard maple, so really nice. You know, this isn't your traditional Home Depot thin layered counter or butcher block. You know, we went out and we sourced every single one of these pieces, matched out which ones we wanted, so that when you open this door, you see this really nice focal point. And we sprayed a 2-part urethane hardener on here, so this is going to be lasting a lifetime. But right here we do have a fold-down table. So turn this latch. Bam, nice spot to set a beer or to put a little gas cooking stove.
Yeah, kind of a kitchen extension.
So you have an induction top to use on the inside for quick stuff in the morning or in the evening. Heat up some water, make something if the weather is nasty out here. You put that on the counter, you plug it in, and you can make stuff quick. But you're not really going to want to cook bacon inside your rig. So this ends up being a great spot to put an extra stove and just have the ability to have an indoor-outdoor space almost. So that guy just got a little latch there. You've got a plug underneath it that runs off the inverter. Next to that, you've got a secondary table that can be used from your countertop, if you need some more space. But also when this seat turns around, this ends up being a nice spot for this seat to be able to use. You can
Perfect.
With this, everybody gets their own space, and you don't have to crowd around one small little lagoon table to try to eat or set stuff down, play cards on it, whatever. So this guy
worked well with both my kids.
Reset, that locks in place. Yeah, let's jump in there. So this couch is pretty long. Might not be comfortable long-term for somebody that's 6 foot to use as a bed, but for an emergency situation or a kid, this does transfer into a full bed. So these little latches right here will open your doors. So you push down on them, slide out, and then you'd have storage, of course, so plenty of extra storage underneath.
Yeah.
This guy will slide forward, locks into place. Move the lagoon table out of the way, and then there you go. You've got yourself a bed. Of course, if you're in bed mode, you just set the lagoon table out of the way. Moves pretty quick. Plenty comfortable for somebody for a few nights, or their tank gets blown away or something like that. So kind of
daughter will fit on there pretty well.
Nice. Yeah, you'll have to give us the report once she spends some time on this thing.
If the front seat turns around, and that makes it even longer.
Yep. So you can use that as a foot extension. Kind of nice. It transfers in and out of a bed in a matter of seconds. So on this pillar right here, this is kind of our control panel. First off, we've got a plug that runs off your inverter. We also have 12-volt USB and USB-C. And then above that are house-made light switches. These guys on the ceiling are all in different zones, so depending on who needs light and whatnot, you can put these guys on. So you got one that will just shine over the entrance and some of the kitchen, a center one, and then the rears. And they're also on dimmers, so you can bring the mood down a little bit.
That's nice.
And just remember, if you go to flip them on sometimes and you're like, look, they're not coming on, that just means the dimmer's all the way down. So just engage it. And then above that, you're gonna have your thermostat for your S-bar heater. And your S-bar heater sits underneath your passenger seat up front. You're not gonna need that for a few months, of course. It's pretty warm out right now, but pretty intuitive. It just has a little control right there. And then this is your control panel, master control panel for all your electrical. And that we'll go over at a later date to give you the whole rundown on everything.
Okay.
So yeah, all your main controls are right here, but then you do have some auxiliary switches underneath these overhead cabinets. They're all inset recessed flux fire LED lights. And then that one's placed back there so you can reach it from bed if you need to flip on and off right before you go to bed.
Okay.
All your overheads, you can see that they're all kind of a nice, clean, streamlined, modern look without any latches or mechanics on them. And that is because recessed behind this little skirt right here is all of our magnets. You see the magnets on the face here.
Yep.
So they hold really nice and tight. And then that eliminates the need for kind of an ugly intrusive. Plenty of storage. I mean, you've got uppers all across here. You've got the uppers there. Nobody ever complained that they got too much storage.
Plenty of storage, yeah. I think it's...
But you'll fill it all. Don't worry.
There's a lot of storage though. That's gonna be great.
Your sink's right here. Got a really nice deep well sink. And you have these faucets fold down and out of the way. This tall, thin one is gonna be your filtered water. And then this guy is regular water. This one just has the inline filter attached to it.
Okay.
Underneath is our gray water tank. And pretty simple. This guy just pops right off. You'll pull it out. You'll dump it into a field, water some plants.
Great.
And then you got a stack of drawers right here. These are all on 25-pound RV slides, so you can see they want to pull back right when you open them. But you just pull them back that little spring. So you got a deep well on the bottom, and then you got 3 more, 2 more on the side over there.
Okay.
And you've got your Cruise 130 fridge. So plenty of space for some wine and hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
And that guy runs off a 12 volt, a little freezer on top. And that mostly covers it, besides this is your 48 volt air conditioner. It's really nice and streamlined so you don't rub your head against it.
Okay.
Because height is definitely a concern for this build. But overall, I think it's a gorgeous build, and
I love it. I'm very excited to do my first trip with my son.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple days from now. Heading up to Bozeman, Montana. Gonna be a great time.
Perfect inaugural trip for this thing. Well, I'm excited that we were able to work with you to get you your dream rig, and hopefully this is decades worth of fun and enjoyment in this thing.
I'm happy. Thanks, Brandon.
You're part of the Reparadise family now.
I love it.
Not all vans are created equal. Discover the luxury, power, and capability of SAGA vans, built to perfection at Reparadise.